videos know that when I make mistakes, I want to tell everybody about them because I don't want anyone else to make the same costly mistakes. So this one's about lift kits. A few months ago, I finally decided to pull the trigger on I used to have just a leveling kit on this, and it was fine. It did what it had to do. It made the Jeep look a little bit better, but it wasn't really performance oriented, so I wanted to get something better. So after looking through catalogs and websites and all that, I settled on a Skyjacker lift kit. It was basically the dual rate springs with the shocks. It was a 2.5-inch lift. It came with the track bar bracket, bump stop extenders, almost everything I thought I needed to do a lift like that. Now, in my research of lifting a Jeep, what I kept hearing was that 2.5 is about the max you can go before you have to do like substantial modifications to the Jeep suspension. And so to me that meant, oh good, this isn't going to cost much. I can get away with doing minimal. And so I bought the lift kit, installed it, love it. I love the look of it. I love the performance of it. But then shortly after installing it, within a day or two, I started noticing little death wobbles starting to develop. And I had always heard about death wobble. I never experienced it. I always assumed that was the bigger 4, 5, 6-inch lift kits that did that. And like if somebody did them wrong or did something, whatever, I always figured that was the issue. So I didn't really worry about it too much. And but then this thing, especially like when I went over railroad tracks, and like might be like, oh, how often does that happen? Well, for me, I crossed the same railroad tracks at least 4 times a day. So it was getting to be stupid. Like the wheel would start shaking uncontrollably, and I'd grab it and try to stop it, and it would eventually, I'd have to get on the brakes and slow the thing way down to get it to stop. It was annoying and dangerous. So anyway, so I'm like, well, I don't understand. I changed the track bar bracket, and I only went up 2.5 inches. This thing had in the front, it had a 2-inch lift with the leveling kit, because the leveling kit was 2 inches in the front, 1 inch in the rear. This new kit's 2.5 inches all around. So start looking into death wobble, and then of course every jamoke on the internet has an opinion on what causes death wobble. Most of them are wrong. I don't know how many videos I saw saying to change the shock absorber, the bump steer shock absorber, and get an expensive good one, and that's going to help you. And I knew that wasn't the case, and I had just changed mine anyway, just because the old one was destroyed, and so it has a brand new one on it. So I knew that wasn't the problem, and a lot of people. So I think it was I forget whose video it was. It was Nate from Dirt Lifestyle. He does great videos, great fabrication videos, great installation videos, wheeling videos, everything. I love his channel. Anyway, so he really did a scientific breakdown of what causes death wobble. So that's why I'm doing this video, because I want everyone who's thinking about doing a lift to your Jeep to know these things up front. If you go on extreme terrain or Quadratech or something like that, and you're looking at a lift kit, and it says, and you're led to believe that kit comes with everything you need, I guarantee you it doesn't, unless it's at least $1,000. And that sucks, because I was on a budget. I was trying to get away with, around $500-600 to do the whole kit. And now, because of what I found out, I'm up to over $1,100. So anyway, I'm going to show what causes the death wobble. There's a bunch of options. First of all, what you want to do is make sure that before you do a lift kit, you want to do this anyway, but you want to make sure there's no ball joints are worn and loose. So jack up one wheel at a time. Try to move the wheel around, see if you can get it to move weird, like kind of bump around on a loose ball joint or something like that. Make sure that there's no loose parts. Your drag link, your track bar, all of those things. Make sure that everything is tight, nothing's worn out and loose. So, and if you once you do that, you rule all that out. So then the next culprit, and I think this is probably 95% of all death wobble is caused by this. And once Nate broke it down, and then I looked at the Jeep and figured it out for myself after that using what he said, it made perfect sense. And then so I came up with an analogy of my own. So basically the problem is caster angle. So your Jeep's axles from the factory are tilted back a certain amount of degrees. I think it's like 4 degrees, 4.5 degrees or something like that. And the reason for that is when you tilt that axle backwards, the parts that turn for the wheels to turn, they're more controlled. They're kept in line by the vehicle moving forward. They track better that way. So the engineers of any car company, they work out all the math of this stuff, so they know exactly. And I always thought that, like, oh, Jeeps have 2 live axles. Like, how complicated could it be? How scientific could you be? Turns out you could be really scientific. So anyway, they tilt the axle back. That gives you the control. And the difference is, now, if you think about a shopping cart, now the shopping cart wheels are flat. They're mounted flat. They're on bearings that are flat. And when you watch somebody wheeling a shopping cart across the parking lot, the wheels are flopping all around because there's nothing keeping them in line. So every time they hit a little bump, they start to go like that. So basically, death wobble is just a bigger version of that. So when you lift your Jeep, you reduce that caster angle. So you almost, the more you lift it, the more straight that caster gets, and you lose that angle. So you might, with a 2.5-inch lift, I might have lost an inch, 1.5 degrees, maybe 2 degrees max, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for physics, it's a lot. So basically, when I would hit railroad tracks, or if I hit bumps with one wheel and the other wheel doesn't hit it, it would throw the wheel off, and then they try to correct themselves, and it would just kind of snowball, and they'd go. They start wobbling, and then the whole Jeep would just go crazy. So that's what's causing it. So basically, what I'm saying is, when you get your lift kit, so you pick a lift kit that's got springs, it's got track bar brackets, because you want to. What the track bar does is it keeps your axle centered under the vehicle. So when you lift it, it pulls the axle to one direction. So if you get a track bar bracket that raises it up, it compensates for the lift, so that you eliminate that problem. But anyway, so the caster angle, when you push the frame away from the axle with a lift, then the axle starts to straighten out. So then you lose that caster. So that's what causes it. So anyway, what you want to do is, when you get a lift kit, so you might get, I thought I could just get away with springs, shocks, and the bump stops and the track bars and all that stuff. What you need to get is either adjustable control arms, and this is where the money is. This is what sucks, and this is what pissed me off. But you have to get either adjustable control arms, so that you can push the axle out and tilt it back some more, and you can do that with either the bottom or the top, because it's a 4-link system. So you have 2 control arms on the top of the axle, 2 underneath, and you can change either one of those. Changing the length, you can change your caster angle. So what you want to find is either adjustable with the Heim joints and all that. And those tend to be more expensive, what I found, and just by goofing around on the internet, and I found this on Extreme Terrain, but Terraflex makes a kit specifically for that. So it gives you lower control arms for, I think it was a 2.5 to a 3.5 inch lift. Is what these were made for. And what it does is when you put these on, it pushes the bottom of the axle out, and God, the sun's terrible. It pushes the bottom of the axle out, and then corrects your caster angle. And then what this kit also came with upper control arms for the back, because which is another issue, pinion angle. So your differential in the middle of the axle, and then the drive shaft comes down to it, and the differential is set at a certain angle, so that the pinion angle, so that the drive shaft isn't kinked too much at an angle, because what that's going to do is wear out your drive shaft after a while. So the front control arms correct the caster angle and the pinion angle of the front drive shaft, but it also, the rear ones correct your pinion angle and your rear drive shaft, which does most of the work, unless you're wheeling. So this kit pretty much solved two problems. So I put it on, and it's almost $500 for the kit. So $600 for the initial lift kit, and then because of my stupidity, another $500. So now I'm right up to $1,200, where I didn't want to be in the first place, but it is what it is. Everything's right now. The kit worked beautifully, and it totally corrected the death wobble. It doesn't do it anymore, and I'm sure the pinion angle is a lot better, and this way, the pinion angle is a lot better, so I won't wear out my drive shaft any faster than I have to. So anyway, that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull over, and I'll get out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with all these components. So stay tuned. Okay, so here we are. There's the caster. That's where your front wheel turns. Now, you can see it's got an angle. I'm trying to hold the camera level here. It's got an angle to it, and it's only a few degrees. So you can imagine when you lift it and you lose like half of that you pretty much have no angle left, and that's why the death wobble happens. So now what I did is I found the Terraflex Sport. They're not adjustable control arms. They're already pre-set for specific size length lift. My lift is a 2.5. These were 2.5 to 3. I think it was the length. So it's totally straightened out the problem. Everything's good. So now in the back, you can see the upper control lengths, and that straightened out the differential and the pinion. So there's almost no bend between the drive shaft and the pinion on the differential. So that straightened that out, and everything's been great. So no problems. Everything is operating as it should, and no more death wobble. Okay, so that's it. Just wanted to do a quick video just in case, the holidays coming up. Somebody might be putting on their wish list that they want to get lift kits and all that kind of stuff. Plus with the winter, nothing to do but work on our Jeeps. So wait for the next season to start for off-roading. So anyway, that's it. I'll leave a link in the description for the Terraflex kit there. And I only saw it for the 2.5 to 3 inch lift, which is pretty common size lift for JKs. But if you're going bigger than that, I hate to tell you, you're gonna have to spend the money and just get a really complete kit. You want to change everything, especially if you're going bigger than 3 inches. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one. Before I go, when you do a lift, everyone told me, oh, when you do a lift, the first thing you got to do is get an alignment afterwards. And I was like, nuts to that. I don't need to do that. And here's what happened. I don't know if the camera's picking it up that good, but my tires are all scalloped and unevenly worn. And they're incredibly loud on the highway now, because I drove for a while with the alignment way off. They were toe in so bad, and I didn't even notice it, and now they wore like crap. So anyway, so caster angle and alignment, those are your big things. Good luck, everybody.